Greetings and welcome to In Depth. I'm Dike and Rostant. The Caribbean Export Development Agency is partnering with the T&T Government, CARICOM Secretariat and others for the inaugural Caribbean Investment Forum in the Caribbean. Now, Manager of Competitiveness and Export Promotion, Dr. Damie Sinanan, and Senior Advisor, PR and Marketing, Caribbean Export Development Agency, JoEllen Laryea, they join us to share more. And we want to welcome both of you to this conversation. But I want to start off with you, please, Dr. Sinanan, asking what is the aim of the Caribbean Investment Forum?
Well, thank you very much, Dike. The Caribbean Investment Forum is literally the largest gathering of business persons in the Caribbean region since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2019. That is our goal, and that is the purpose of the forum. It's bringing business persons together from the Caribbean region, along with foreign investors from outside of the region, and putting them in a room together and allowing them to do business. That is the purpose of the Caribbean Investment Forum, really bringing business persons together so they can transact business and encourage foreign direct investment into the Caribbean with a focus on the 4 transformative sectors that we would have identified.
So we're going to ask about those transformative sectors in just a bit, but before, I'm not going to let you go before I ask, when you say business person, what does that mean? Because they have SMEs, they have persons who are part of larger agencies. There may be people who are in the ideation phase. So what level are you thinking about?
All of the above. Persons who are in the ideation phase, they can come and meet with angel investors. Small and medium-sized enterprises who are seeking small business financing. We have investors, we have banks who will be in attendance, and large businesses. If you are a large business and you're seeking multi-million-dollar investors, we have those type of investors as well. So we're targeting business persons in general. We have investment promotion agencies from across the region, 13 in fact, who will be presenting their multi-million-dollar projects to eager vetted investors.
No, you're saying that, and I'm getting excited, but I want to bring you into the conversation, please, Ms. Laryea. What has been the interest level thus far? Who should be attending? I mean, we may have started getting that answer from Dr. Sinanan, but at the same time, what has that level of interest been thus far?
Well, the level of interest has actually been phenomenal, actually way above what we were anticipating. People are actually knocking on our doors, looking to see how they can secure a ticket for the event, if they can also not only just to be part of the audience and participate in that respect, but also to be part of the speaker program as well, because there's a huge number of businesses that are out there that also want to showcase what they're doing as a whole, and to really showcase how they are actually also doing their part to support the transformation of the region. And I think, it's really useful for, any businesses that are in the marketplace, that are doing something different, that are making a difference to the lives of people in the Caribbean, that are looking to transform, whether it's in the digitalization of business, if it's software services, in ICT, how can we really look to transform, our region, and propel us, even further into the global marketplace. And I think, those businesses or those business people that are really spearheading or vanguards for their industries are who we want to be attracting for this event. And I believe we have over, I think we're close to almost being oversubscribed for the event as a whole. So the interest is most certainly there.
So hopefully after this conversation, you can say, yes, well, I think that's enough, because we're also looking at quality, making sure that we can get as much as we can out of the experience. But there's a saying that people don't stone empty mango tree. So we're going to, as the conversation continues, we'll see what are some of those things that people are basically beating on your doors to be attending. But you spoke of 4 sectors, Dr. Sinanan. Can you itemize them first, please, and what is the impact in terms of what it is you're trying to do with them?
Yes. What we are trying to encourage is we're encouraging businesses in the region, including small and medium-sized enterprises, including startups. We're trying to encourage them to do business differently. I mean, the COVID-19 pandemic has just sort of laid bare our vulnerabilities in the region. We're all mostly small island developing states. We're at the mercy of the larger countries. We have to do business differently. If we are to increase and build resilience, we have to be a smarter, greener Caribbean. So that being said, we are focused on 4 priority areas. And I mean, there are many, but you have to be as focused as possible. For our forum, we're focused on 4 main sectors to help build that resilience in the Caribbean region. 1, ICT and digital business. We saw during the pandemic, firms that are able to shift and transact business online and digitally were able to survive and sometimes even thrive during the pandemic. Agriculture technology. The Caribbean region is one of the most food insecure regions in the entire world. We import most of our foods, and in Trinidad and Tobago, we're seeing that at the grocery stores right now. Prices are simply going up. We have to be able to produce our own food in the region, and utilizing agriculture technology is a way to get that done. We have to focus on transport and logistics. If we have to export anything out of the region, or even if we have to move people around the region, we have to improve the transportation and the logistics network. And finally, the last sector that we're dealing with is renewable energy and energy efficiency. We have to look at reducing the cost of energy in the region and also producing cleaner, greener energy, because that's the only way we can thrive and sort of get under from the vulnerabilities that we currently face. So those are the 4 sectors that we're pushing very hard at this forum to really build the resilience and build a smarter, greener Caribbean. And there are many other sectors as well, but we're trying to focus on these new sectors that can really have a transformational impact in the Caribbean region. And they all have potential for jobs as well. So if we were to increase these sectors, the chance of getting more employment and persons getting employed increases with that as well.
Thank you so much for that. And we have about a minute before we take the break and then get into the second half of the conversation. But Ms. Laryea, looking at that first sector and the shift to IT, can people join virtually, or is it just going to be physical, or is there a hybrid? Tell me a little bit about that. I see you smiling.
No, well, as Damie would have mentioned earlier on in our conversation, this is the largest gathering of people within the Caribbean, business people within the Caribbean, and so we really wanted to, bring everybody in one location to really talk and do business face to face. Since obviously the COVID-19 pandemic, we understand the vulnerabilities and what has happened over the last 2 years. But I think, for us to really move forward and to enable us to make those decisions, for the people to kind of really work together, we really wanted to ensure that we could, get people in the room and doing business together. And I think that's really the key thing. So in long and short, there isn't an element of online streaming for other persons. We do have virtual connections for some of the speakers that weren't able to be there in person, but we felt that it was really important for them to be part of the conversation. So there are those virtual link-ups. And secondly, we do have a segment of the program which is enabling persons to view and watch the country pictures. Now, the country pictures are really the opportunity for the various countries across the region, because remember, this is a regional event, so we have projects from across the Caribbean that are, looking to gain that foreign direct investment. So we have opened up the country pictures to enable those that, maybe haven't been able to travel, the investor audience that haven't been able to travel, to actually view some of those country pictures at the event. So, but we encourage people to, obviously, if they can get a ticket, if they can get to Trinidad and Tobago, to be part of this seminal event.
We're very happy to have them here as well, but stay tuned. We are coming back with more. We're talking about the Caribbean Investment Forum. Stay with us. Welcome back. We are speaking about the inaugural Caribbean Investment Forum. We're doing so with Dr. Damie Sinanan, as well as JoEllen Laryea of the Caribbean Export Development Agency. And Ms. Laryea, what can people expect at the forum in terms of the key speakers? Thank you.
Well, we have a very diverse speaker program as a whole. So we have some of the leading heads of organizations from across the region, from the financial institutions, from Republic Bank, from Massey Group, the highest members of some of their organizations, including vice presidents and CEOs. We also have some keynote speakers also attending the event on each of those days. So I would really encourage persons to visit the website, the CaribbeanInvestmentForum.com, to view the speaker program as a whole. But we're going to be hearing from Nicholas Brathwaite, who is a Silicon Valley billionaire, let's say, and who has been doing a tremendous amount of work within the Caribbean and internationally in terms of supporting the development of our region as well. So I think we also have the Secretary General from the African Forum, also Wamkele Mene, who will also be giving a keynote address on the first day of the event. And this has really been a significant addition to the speaker program, because we all know about obviously the trade between the Caribbean and Europe, but an area that hasn't been explored as much has been trade with Africa. Given the strong historical links, this is an area that we really want to push and develop much further, is the opportunity for trade and investment from within the African continent as well.
And thank you so much for that. But looking behind you, we see the branding. So I'm going to ask the question now, Dr. Sinanan, in terms of the export, or the Caribbean Export Development Agency, an overview of that, thank you, and its role specifically in the investment forum that is coming up.
Yes, well, Caribbean Export Development Agency, we are the lead agency for private sector development in the Caribbean region, also trade and investment promotion. So it's really our role to work with the Caribbean private sector, and that's the 14 CARICOM member states and plus the Dominican Republic, which is a market of over 15 million persons, to work with the private sector across these countries to really build their export and their investment promotion capacity. So that's essentially what we do. And we see the Caribbean Investment Forum as a strong platform to attract foreign direct investment into the region. So we are the lead agency in putting this investment forum together. The forum is actually financed by, in addition to our, majorly by the European Union, through the generous donations of the European Union. And we welcome Ambassador Peter Cavendish on the program, who is the head of delegation for Trinidad and Tobago for the European Union. We also have sponsors on board who are contributing financially to the event. The government of Trinidad and Tobago is contributing financially to the event, and Caribbean Export is really putting this event together because we see it as a strong platform to attract foreign direct investment into the Caribbean region, which is necessary to build resilience and to build a smarter, greener Caribbean region.
And we keep on speaking about the Caribbean. It's very important. Ms. Laryea, I wanted to sell me on investing in the Caribbean, please. In terms of given the many uncertainties in the global economy, besides being a supporter of the region, why do you think it is really something to do in terms of like the Caribbean being a good investment proposition for investors and who may still be a little unsure of where they want to invest?
Well, I think, there's a number of reasons why people should invest in the Caribbean. I mean, not only is it a fantastic location, we've seen that, with all of the tourism, we're a world-class tourism destination, and believe it or not, as much as, the sun and the sand and the sea, we kind of take it for granted, but it does mean a lot for people that, if they're looking to invest in a marketplace where, just generally, it's a great place to be. But aside from that as well, we have a high literacy rate across the Caribbean, and a young growing employable population as well. And when you take all of the islands together, in terms of the language capabilities, we have a strong employable population, which is very attractive for the investor. In addition, our location is really quite useful, especially when you look at the proximity to the United States, also to South America, and so we're often considered as a nearshore partner. So for anybody that's, if you look at some of the other offshore locations from the US, so if you take Asia, for example, those time differences can make a huge impact in being able to provide a service to clients, and also being able to, work with your offshore partners as such. So the Caribbean's location is also extremely important. And I mentioned earlier on about from the tourism point of view, but the fact that we have done so well in tourism means that we have got, we've got the experience, we understand about service, and we're able to leverage those experiences and those skill sets into other industries, whether it's business process outsourcing, whether it's when we're looking at providing services, the service industry as a whole, providing services to overseas clients, and we're able to leverage those skill sets and those experiences from the industries that we've done very well at, and also build those into those newer industries. And finally, the Caribbean is a safe place. It's a safe place to live, and that makes a difference for any investor. We have stable governments across the region. The crime rate is low, and so it makes it a very attractive location for investment as a whole. Damie, do you want to add to any of that?
Yeah, just one point I would like to add. I mean, JoEllen did a very good job in listing the competitive advantages that the Caribbean region can offer to an investor. But we also have to look at the Caribbean region as a whole has a number of different trade agreements. For example, the European Union EPA. We have the North America, the free trade agreement we have with North America. We've signed a number of bilateral trade agreements. So any investor, not only will they have access to the 15 million persons from across the countries that I mentioned, but they also have already access to all of these markets where the Caribbean region is specifically located. And also tourists, we have more tourist arrivals coming into many of the islands. So you have that as a market as well. So we're really talking about a very large market that any investor will have access to. And these are some of the competitive advantages that the Caribbean region can offer.
All more incentive for you to be part of the inaugural Caribbean Investment Forum in the Caribbean. It'll be held at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Port of Spain from November 8 to 11. So we want to thank you very much, JoEllen, Laryea, as well as Dr. Damie Sinanan, and in terms of giving us some information about the Caribbean Investment Forum. And this has been In Depth with me, Dike, on behalf of the entire news team. Thank you so much for joining us.